In the Disney canon timeline, the galaxy faces a new threat in the First Order. However, in the Legends timeline, the galaxy faces a much more intimidating and fierce threat. The Yuzhang Wang were a warrior race who were seemingly banished from their galaxy and had been traveling for generations until they found the main Star Wars galaxy. The Yuzhang Wang were apprehensive to invade the galaxy due to a living planet called Zonama Sectot, and Supreme Overlord Quaril decided not to invade the galaxy. Unfortunately for him, a promising Yuzhang Wang called Shimrra, who had previously been selected as a possible candidate for the throne, overthrew Quaril. Shimrra, who had murdered his twin when they were 7, assumed control of the Yuzhang Wang throne and sent spies into the galaxy. 25 years after the event of Return of the Jedi, the Yuzhong Guang launched the invasion of the galaxy. In this video, we will be discussing the power and combat skill of Supreme Overlord Shimra and where he would match up against other powerful characters in Star Wars. Shimra was one of 3 twin births in the history of the Yuzhong Wang species. The last 2 twin births had resulted in one of the twins killing the other and saving the Yuzhong Wang in perilous time. Shimra was noted to be exceptionally impressive, and he received special treatment akin to royalty due to his status as a potential candidate for the future Supreme Overlord. When Shimra was 7, he killed his twin brother to nullify any potential competitor he might have had in his twin. Shimra received the best combat training and all the privileges of royalty until he decided to overthrow Supreme Overlord Koril. Shimra and fellow members of Domain Jamaine killed Koril and Shimra ascended to the throne. Around this time, Onimi had grafted Yamosk tissue into his DNA and had become a shamed one, but also had become force sensitive. Onimi compelled Shimra to take him as his familiar and compelled him to announce to the Yuzhong Wang that they have found a galaxy ripe for taking. Onimi became Shimra's familiar and jester, publicly degraded by Shimra, and yet to have a shamed one as his familiar displayed Shimra's power and comfort in the position of Supreme Overlord. Shimra displayed instances of telepathically barging into minds, as it is, and it is unclear if this was really the work of Shimra or if it was truly Onimi. In either case, the novels depict that it was Shimra doing this. Below I will show all instances where Shimra has performed this feat. It is said that you cannot lie to him, you feel transparent before him, and him pressing against your mind was like the embrace of pain. Shimra also has arguably the most hyped up presence in the entire Star Wars franchise. There are literally no other characters who are depicted to be this powerful based off of presence alone. Nen Yim, a master shaper, compares Shimra's presence to Yun Yuzan, the most powerful Yuzan Wong. Shimra's voice was mind numbing and as terrible as and magnificent as Yun Yuzan. His presence was godlike, and he was the largest Yuuzhan Vong that either Luke or Nom Anor had ever seen. Shimra's presence is described by the Unifying Force, Luke Skywalker, as more intimidating than Palpatine, and his presence alone was enough for Luke to consider that he couldn't defeat him. Next, we have Shimra's weapon. Shimra's amphistaff was 3 meters long, and if you were poisoned by it, there was no antidote according to Nom Anor. His amphistaff is depicted in Jason Solo's vision to be darker than any absence of light, a darkness that seemed alive, promised death. Moving on, we have my main point, Shimra's combat skill. Shimra's body and mind have been enhanced, and he is more powerful than any Supreme Overlord before him. Shimra is so huge that he seemed to fill the entire world when he was angry. Shimra is the ultimate weapon of the Yuuzhan Vong, and the war will not come to an end without his defeat, which will be exceedingly difficult, even for Luke Skywalker. Luke even senses Shimra's threat. Jason Solo remarks that neither the Emperor nor Darth Vader were Luke's real enemies, and that this presence, which was Shimra, was Luke's real foe. And in the battle of the unifying force, Shimra's true power is revealed. It is revealed that Shimra is the concentrated power of all of the Yuuzhan Vong, and just one smack renders Jason Solo unconscious. Shimra beats a tired Luke Skywalker who is in his prime, since this is after he defeats since after this he refuses to use the Verger philosophy, which even he admits is more effective. Verger philosophy essentially being that there isn't a light and dark side, and there is only the unifying force, and that you should release your raw power. What we really see is a tired, full potential legend Luke Skywalker versus Shimra, and Shimra defeats Luke. Ultimately, Luke kills Shimra when Shimra was gloating, and I do believe that had Luke been fresh, Shimra would have been defeated, but this is still a great showing for him. Shimra has multiple connections made to Palpatine and even multiple statements over him. Shimra is the concentrated power of the Yuzhang species, who explicitly said numerous times to be a greater threat than the Empire. In conclusion, Shimra is definitely one of the most skilled and powerful Star Wars characters, and I would put him with titans such as Emperor Palpatine and Emperor Valkorion. Shimra would provide a great threat to Prime Luke Skywalker, and that's definitely no mean feat.